Jason, as my nephew, I've known you a long time, and I'm super proud of what you've built here. In agriculture, I've got to do a lot of things. I've got to start up some companies, got to lead some businesses, have got to work with a lot of really smart professionals, and it's just been so cool to see what you've built here. And during the day today, we were talking about a couple of different things. One thing we were talking about is the challenges for farmers to make money. And if you think about yield change, it's really hard to make more yield, even though you can. There's things you can do. And when I think about the economics of farming, farming for the most part, if you're just raising number 2 corn or commodity soybeans, then the only way you can make money is you have to be more efficient than the market, more efficient than everyone else, have to embrace new technology, have to move really fast on new technology. And you and I were talking about a couple different things that you've been doing. So Jason, something that really surprised me today was I was just asking about different herbicides and different fungicides, and you started telling me about the wide range of prices. You told me about some of the products that you use and that you sell, but I just couldn't believe it. Did I understand correctly that, like in the case of Roundup, from some of the different options, there's more than a 2x difference in price for the same active ingredient?
Yep. In this time of economy, farmers really need to start looking for that too, because I mean, it could be a competitor or anybody like that is putting a higher markup on it and not making the farmer as successful per acre for that product.
Yeah, that's just amazing. You would think all suppliers, would with the same products. I've been in the supply side of the industry for a long time, right? And suppliers have to make money. If suppliers don't make money, then it's going to be rough for farmers, because you won't have innovation, because you have to compete against Brazilian farmers and Argentine farmers and Canadian farmers and farmers around the world. So I know you respect suppliers have to make money, but I would have thought that things would have kind of leveled up where suppliers are kind of in the same spot. That was pretty amazing.
Yeah, but unfortunately, it's actually probably gotten worse this year so far, with such a wide variety across the area.
Jason, I remember it wasn't that many years ago that when I was global head of marketing for one of the largest seed treatment companies in the world, and back then there were a lot of farmers that really questioned where they should use seed treatment on soybeans. So in your own operation, do you guys use seed treatments today on soybeans? And if so, what % of your acres would you treat?
Yeah, so 100% all soybeans get treated from the factory. Seed company puts all of it on for us, and so we don't have to worry about it.
Well, I found something interesting too, is I hear farmers sometimes say, well, on wheat beans, so beans planted after wheat, which in this part of the world is some years you can and some years you can't. But I think earlier today you told me that all of the beans that you planted after wheat you had treated.
Yes, yep, because you never know what's really going to come later in the season. You could have a lot of rain and really affect stuff.
Yeah, and that early vigor is so important that the crop gets up and gets a fast start. Yep. So I remember a few years ago, I know here on Lone Pine you guys embrace technology. This is kind of funny. I don't know if you even remember it. I was riding with your dad in the combine because he doesn't trust me to drive it. But anyway, you were drilling wheat, and I remember you calling on the radio saying, "Hey, I don't remember if you had a new guidance system or new plant monitoring system." And I remember you calling him up saying, "Hey, I don't think this thing's right." I went back and I dug, and I think it's only planting about half of what it's saying. And your dad said, "All right, then why don't you go ahead and adjust?" I remember you calling an hour or two later saying, "Dad, just ran out of wheat seed. There's about 10 acres left to go in this field." So which one was right? You digging in the ground or that little piece of equipment in your cab?
That piece of equipment in my cab was right. I changed it, and it was actually putting seed in the ground that I wasn't able to find right there.
Yeah, I mean, that's just a great example of how embracing technology, even though, I work with AI a lot. And it's easy to think, well, how can a computer be as smart as a human, right? And it's not that a computer is as smart as a human, it's just that with a computer, and like with AI, or even in that case with plant monitoring, right? Those things can be so precise and can deal with complexity that we either get bored with or don't take the time for or whatnot. So are there other types of technology that that you use day in and day out?
Yeah, so something you actually brought up with technology is with planting is variable rate planting. It's been a huge change for us because when you're going on the outside round of your field and stuff with timber and stuff in northeast Kansas, you really don't grow that good of a crop. So in your middle of your field, you're wanting to get around at 30 to 32,000 on corn. On the outside rounds, you could do 25,000 with technology, save money on seed up front, and also still cover yourself to have a crop there.
So dryland Kansas, you're planting 30 to 32,000?
Yep.
Yeah, that's amazing. I guess this says how much older I am than you, but I remember when to plant 24,000 would have been taking a risk on getting a crop. Yeah, that's amazing. Here in your own operation, I know you've been doing some testing of different plant populations, and in some of my work we have too. I was pretty shocked this summer at some work that I had done that we were doing at maybe 20% off of standard populations, yet on soybeans, the yields were shocking. When I say shocking, like it was a good soybean year, but the yields were like in the 70 and 80 bushel range. So, so here on your own operation, what have you seen with your soybean yields?
Yeah, so on the population side of things, with 2 of our trials that we've done on the upland ground, we have noticed about 130,000 is your most profitable per acre. And on the bottom ground, it's right around 90,000 population. So that makes a huge difference on saving seed up front and coming out with more profitable per acre.
So that's amazing, because I would have thought on upland ground, which tends to burn up faster, you would have wanted the lower population, and on the bottom ground, you would have wanted the higher population. But when I think about soybeans and the difference between beans and corn, if you look at corn yields over the last 30, 40 years, the hybrids have basically been bred to tolerate stress better, so you can kick up the populations in corn hybrids. Yet in soybeans, the breeding has actually just truly increased yield. And what you're telling me is on the good ground, you're able to plant a lower population.
Correct. So on the good ground, on the bottom ground, you actually notice that a higher population of soybeans, they all fight for sunlight. So they get really, really tall, and they're not producing as much, and then your moisture is going into the whole entire stem instead of a shorter bean with more bushels.
So on the higher population on the good ground, from a scientific standpoint, I might say that they're staying in the vegetative phase too long. They're trying to compete against each other. Then when they start producing seed, you've spent all this energy on this plant material and less in the seed. Whereas in the upland, they don't get as tall. So then by having the higher population, I guess you probably get the ground shaded faster. Did you see that in the upland?
Yeah,
the higher population?
A little bit of that. But on the 160,000 that we went up to, we really didn't see that much difference.
That's just too much.
But a yield drop is what we've seen in that.
Yeah.
But on height and stuff, it was actually pretty similar.
Well, and I remember way back in the day, it was kind of standard just to drill, not even plant, right? But just to drill 2 bushels to the acre. So that would have been, my goodness, 280,000. And so now you're able to get top yields even at 90 on the bottom ground.
Yep, and save money at it too is the biggest thing.
Why or is it helpful for farmers to order online? And sounded to me like you like ordering stuff online.
Yeah, so the biggest thing for farmers that we have to adjust in this new world of technology and everything is we have to pre-plant. We can't just keep flying day by day and just hoping for the best results, because then we have no idea, okay, is this the best fit for my farm, or did I just grab it because I needed it that day and I'm just gonna throw it in the field, do whatever, throw it in the piece of equipment and go with it.
Well, and having spent my whole career on the supplier side, as costs have ratcheted up, it's just difficult to maintain the inventory levels at all the different parts of the value chain in the industry today. And so then, do you ever have farmers come in here and you just simply don't have what they thought you might have?
Happens all the time, unfortunately.
But if they planned a little earlier.
Yep, and we could actually knock the price down, actually have stuff locked in.
I was just going to ask that. If they planned earlier, could you give them a better price?
Yep, there's always a better price earlier. So on anything, chemical seed, fertilizer, stuff like that. So
that's pretty cool. I'm just so glad we got to spend some time together today, and little Texas Roadhouse a few minutes ago didn't hurt either.
Yep, I appreciate you coming down.
All right, see you, dude.
Yep, thanks.